Good morning. Welcome back to AM Colorado News Talk 1310 KFKA with your hosts, Tom and Devin. Joining us on the line right now, Dr. Margo Thorning. We'll be talking about liquid natural gas. Doctor, how are you this morning?
Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
So, Doctor, give us a little bit of background on you. It was funny. We were joking a little bit earlier. A friend of mine, PhD, was on a plane and he had signed off on the manifesto that he was a doctor. Unfortunately for him, somebody had a heart attack and the stewardess came over to him and said, "Doctor, we need your assistance." He was the wrong kind of doctor.
Well, I like to think I could make a little contribution. I'm probably the wrong kind of doctor, too. I'm not a veteran MD, but I have looked into the question of what it would mean for the U.S. as a whole and for Colorado as well if the permitting process for liquefied natural gas export facilities is speeded up. As you probably know, or you may know, only 2 permits have been approved by the Department of Energy and FERC in the last 2 years, and there are 20 permits waiting to be approved. And we make the case that rapid approval of all 20 permits would allow the market to decide which export facilities should be built or expanded, and the market should decide how much gas is exported from the U.S. A recent study by ICF International points out that there would be a significant increase in GDP and job growth if the U.S. exported between 6 and 16 billion cubic feet a day of natural gas, and growth in our manufacturing sector, too. So it's a win-win, and it really boggles the mind that the Department of Energy and FERC are sitting on these applications. I encourage your listeners to go to a new website that we've put up. That's www.actonlng.org for a new paper that we've produced documenting the benefits as well as other facts on the whole issue of LNG exports.
Well, and right now, Dr. Thorning, we've got stations running natural gas. What's happening in northern Colorado is, you're obviously very familiar with what is going on with oil and gas exploration right here in northern Colorado. Of course, at the same time, we've got the folks out there, the anti-fracking folks, trying to shut down fracking and exploration in the state of Colorado. And I guess we get in a mindset of thinking about the benefits regionally because we see how tremendously gas impacts our communities, how it keeps energy affordable for all of us and all of the potential. We lose sight of the export side of the equation when it comes to gas. So in terms of what countries are we looking at exporting to, and just some perspective on that global market for consumption and demand of natural gas?
Well, there's probably a demand for another 50 billion cubic feet a day over the next several years abroad. And countries that we would like to export to and that are interested in buying from us are places like Japan, Korea, Europe, possibly China, maybe even some Latin American countries. So the issue that I think people need to focus on is that there are 63 international projects being planned to export natural gas by countries like Nigeria, Algeria, Qatar, Russia, Iran. There's 63 either in place or about to be built and put in place. So if U.S. producers aren't allowed to go ahead and get the permits to build their export facilities, we're going to lose market share, and we'll continue to flare natural gas because the price is so low it doesn't even pay to capture it here. We have so much of it. So we really need to think about our place in the global market, and if we don't move quickly, we're not going to be able to sell a significant share of our gas because other countries who have a lot of gas will have already signed the long-term contracts with these countries that really want it. And the benefits to Colorado are documented in our new LNG paper that I put up on the website, Liquefied Natural Gas why rapid approval of the backlog is important for U.S. prosperity, and they're also cited in a paper by the Small Business Entrepreneurial Council. And for Colorado alone, take a look at what the natural gas and oil and natural gas industry have done for your state over the last 5 years. While employment growth in Colorado increased by 1% over the 2005-2010 period, in the oil and gas extraction, drilling, support for oil and gas operations, the increases in employment were, for example, almost 60% in oil and gas extraction, drilling and gas wells, 35%, 74% increase in support for oil and gas operations. So if we were allowed to export our natural gas, there would be more demand for Colorado's production. There would be even greater job growth and GDP growth in the state as your activity increased. But what we need are overseas markets. You may already know that the number of drilling rigs working on finding natural gas has dropped precipitously in the last 3 years because the price of natural gas dropped from about $12 million cubic feet to about $2.50. So the price of natural gas is still so low that it's not nearly as attractive to drill for it. And having access to export markets would help significantly increase the demand for domestic production, some of which would, of course, be exported.
So, Dr. Thorning, you talked about how many permits are waiting for approval. Is the Energy Department giving any reason why they are not even addressing this, or are they just trying to step back and not deny them? Have permits been denied recently?
Not to my knowledge, but there are 20 of them waiting, and if you log on to Acton LNG website, you'll see the list of them in my paper. 20 are waiting. We've only approved 2 in the last 2 years. The new Secretary of the Department of Energy says he will try to move expeditiously to approve permits, but we have no guarantee of how fast that will be. And at a rate of one every year, it's going to be many years before all the permits were approved. So we believe that it would be better to just go ahead and let the market decide, who can raise the capital, private capital, and build the export facilities, and then sign contracts with whoever they can, get a deal with. There hasn't been any explicit reason given by the Energy Department for the delay, other than that they want to review each case.
Well, Dr. Thorning, what I'm hearing you say is this is the policy of the administration, because it is their political appointees who are responsible for making these decisions, these judgment calls. The process rests solely with them. It's the administration that is keeping it from moving forward.
Well, also there's some reluctance, I think, on some members of the Senate. For example, Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon, who's chairman of the Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee, believes that there should be a careful look at every permit, and that this justifies a slower pace of approval. So there are those in Congress who are also reluctant to see the market make these decisions. I should point out that there's a hearing today that Senator Wyden is chairing, looking at the structure of the oil and gas industry, pricing, transportation issues, and so forth. And that again is an investigation of oil and gas industry practices that's probably not warranted. They do this every year, and they never seem to find anything worthy of trying to draft further legislation. So there's a feeling among some members of Congress that they do want to go slowly. On the other hand, your 2 senators, Senator Bennett and Udall, both signed the letter with 38 other senators asking the Secretary of Energy to move more quickly on LNG permits on export facilities.
Well, that is good news that Senators Udall and Bennett would be supportive, because I would not have said that they would have been signers.
I'm surprised by that information also.
All right, Dr. Thorning, in the last couple of minutes that we have left, wouldn't it be in the best interest of the largest natural gas company in the world, that would be the Russian natural gas company in the world, to see the United States move as slowly as possible in the permitting process?
Certainly. It would be, if you look at Appendix B of the paper that I cite, that's on our Act on LNG website, you'll see all the countries and how much natural gas, the capacity they expect to export, and certainly it's in Russia and Iran and other countries that aren't so friendly to us. And it's in their interest that we go real slowly in the permitting process.
Which is certainly frustrating on our end, and we've seen it in the state of Colorado with renewable energy mandates that are going to drive up the cost of electricity. Here in the state of Colorado, it just seems like an agenda for wind and solar that makes absolutely no sense when we have such an abundant supply of natural gas here in the United States.
Well, that's a good point. Renewable energy tends to be substantially more expensive per kilowatt hour when you realize that you have to back up wind and solar with either natural gas or coal or nuclear. So it's, if you're interested in American competitiveness and job growth, you want to keep energy prices as low as possible. So I think it's important that we continue to develop natural gas and as well as other fuels, and make sure that we keep prices as low as possible by not imposing further mandates for renewable targets.
Dr. Margo Thorning, thank you so much for your time this morning. We have posted your website to the AM Colorado Facebook page, so if our listeners want to go click on Learn More, they can read your paper and follow what you guys are doing. We would love to check in with you as this moves through the political process. Thank you so much this morning.
Please do. Thanks, Tom. Bye-bye.
Thank you. This is